Monday, 6:45 p.m. Whistler Search and Rescue was notified that a young backcountry hiker is missing. Mark Thibault, an avid snowboarder originally from Quebec, had set off alone for his first overnight snow camping trip. When Mark did not show up for work 2 days later, he was reported missing.
The subject was described as not being very experienced and certainly not knowledgeable of the area. He had this burning desire to complete a level of mountaineering. On top of the increasing avalanche danger, poor route finding weather, we presumed that this person would definitely be in need of help.
Friends reported that Mark planned to start his journey from the top of Whistler Mountain, intending to travel part of the Spearhead Traverse, a popular but very challenging backcountry ski route atop the range that links Whistler and Blackcomb Mountains. The Spearhead Traverse is spectacular. A 2-day trek in good weather, it is considered a rite of passage for ski tourers in the area. It's not for the inexperienced.
He had been out for 2 days already, and by the description of the equipment that he had with him, we knew that he could quite possibly be in very serious danger.
He's got snowshoes, food, a sleeping bag. We weren't sure if he had a tarp or not. Definitely doesn't have a tent.
With less than an hour of daylight left, the team launches a hasty search. The helicopter heads directly for Whistler Mountain, then follows the Spearhead Traverse southeast. In the fading daylight, the team spots snowshoe tracks.
Those tracks led down into a very hazardous area. Open creeks, rotten snow, avalanches, the whole host of dangers.
A ground search team on skis follows the tracks out to a hiker's staging area, concluding that the tracks were not made by the missing subject. Nightfall sets in. The search stops for the evening. It is now Tuesday morning. 2 helicopter search teams prepare to leave. One helicopter team heads to Russet Hut, an overnight shelter on the Spearhead Traverse where Mark may have gone.
No entries.
Mark is not in the cabin, nor has he signed the guest book.
Not upstairs.
While there are no signs of Mark at the cabin, there are recent snowshoe tracks heading out from Russet Hut directly into an avalanche area. A snowshoe is spotted on the ground.
We saw some tracks up on the top of the ridge up behind us here, and there is some avalanche debris below it. We seem to be picking up a transceiver out of the helicopter, so we're just sending some members on foot to go and investigate. It's quite a nasty ridge, lots of cornice on the top of it, so we've got a couple of guards out.
Cornice is an overhanging mass of snow and ice formed by drifting wind and snow. The sheer weight and volume of falling cornice often triggers an avalanche on the slope below. The safety of search teams is paramount. Team leader Daryl Kincaid, a full-time professional heli-ski guide and certified Level 2 avalanche technician, performs an avalanche risk assessment. He determines that the area is stable and safe to do the transceiver sweep. They traverse the area, trying to pick up a signal on their mobile avalanche transceivers. 20 minutes later, nothing. The transceiver signal was likely radio interference. The snowshoe? The SAR base reports that it doesn't match the style or color used by Mark. With both helicopters low on fuel, the teams return to base to regroup.
We burned up about 8 hours of helicopter flying and came up empty-handed with no results whatsoever. Reports of lots of skier traffic, but above 6,000 feet, tracks had pretty much been eradicated by the fresh snow and the wind action. So very little clue as to where this person had gone, such that we had to bring the teams back in, re-interview all of the witnesses and all of the information that we had, and then sit down and apply what's called Matson consensus.
The team of search experts divide the Spearhead Traverse into segments Everybody assigns a probability of detection percentage to each segment based on their knowledge of the area and what they believe the subject might do. With all the high probability areas already covered, search leader Braden Douglas has a hunch that marks straight east towards Naden Glacier, a rarely traveled area. The hunch pays off.
We had one snowboard turn mark that had gone downhill, and we then had his direction of travel.
They follow Mark's tracks down along the Cheakamus River for the next 3 hours. On the south side of Cheakamus Lake, the tracks lead into the forest, where visibility from the air is almost zero. Low on fuel again, they turn back, calling their coordinates into the nearby RCMP helicopter that will bring a dog team in to search the area. At the heliport, they're comparing search notes when the news comes in.
4 o'clock, we got to the heliport and we sound like we found Buddy already.
The RCMP helicopter with the dog team spotted Mark on the edge of Cheakamus Lake.
He was right on the edge of a thawing lake, so you got big, huge first growth trees and then a little bit of shore, so we had to do a hover entry. So the helicopter's not going to land, it's just going to come in really close, and we're going to slowly crawl up into the helicopter.
The team rejoices with Mark. Everyone is relieved about the happy outcome. It's not always that way.
I was... Yeah, I thought I was in Fitzham. Yeah, exactly.
The subject was extremely lucky to be alive and was clearly very disoriented in where he thought he was. And had he maintained his direction and travel regime that he was on when we found him, he probably would never have been found.
The real question is, what was Mark thinking when he set out alone into the mountains, inexperienced, poorly equipped, and without a plan? Now, his story.
I thought I would give it a try to do the whole Spirit Traverse. I thought I could do that in 2 days, and that day I just got caught in the heat of the moment, kind of it was too nice, and I didn't stick to the plan.
With no map or compass and little knowledge of the area, Mark just follows the tracks of others who are also doing the traverse.
I didn't know exactly where I was going, so I was really relying on those tracks. When I went to bed at night, it was nice and shining stars in the sky and everything was fine, so I thought everything would be beautiful when I wake up again. I woke up with 6 inches of snow on me. All my stuff were covered in snow and my boots as well. I could still see tracks a little bit. When I traversed to the next peak, then I couldn't see any tracks anymore.
In his haste, Mark walks right off the edge of a steep bank, dropping several meters.
And at the end of that day, I was guessing I'm not in the right direction because I would have recognized some spots by then, and I was still not 100% sure, but I was starting to be okay, I don't know where I am.
He's no longer using his snowboard, but he keeps it for protection.
It's kind of very wild over there, and it's springtime as well, so I was kind of scared to see bears or something like that. And I thought the board would be pretty much the only way I could try to defend myself if I have to.
By Monday night, Mark has traveled nearly 30 kilometers in very challenging conditions.
I now knew I was lost, and I was kind of planning to stay in the woods for quite a while because I didn't see the end of where I was gonna walk to. And that night I just stopped hiking a bit earlier and I set myself a really nice camp and kept a nice warm fire for quite a while. I make myself some tea and kind of recovering from all the hiking I did in the days before. I had less and less energy at that time because I was eating less food. So I was hoping that the day I should work and I'm not to work, someone's gonna realize I'm not there and someone's gonna start to look for me. I didn't panic. I was just thinking I gotta do what I gotta do and just keep warm and try to keep on going.
Mark arrives at Cheakamus Lake on Tuesday morning.
That lake seemed to be out of like nowhere. Like it was too long. I couldn't even see the end of that lake, and I didn't want to fall into a frozen lake neither. And I was starting to hear helicopters flying around, so it really made me think like, okay, like I should be just staying at a safe place right now, and like, you know, picked a big branch, and like I was waving the branch. Finally, the guys saw me. Like the struggle was over. It was a pretty good feeling. I'm feeling very sorry for everyone that I made work so hard, and I was very happy that everything ended like safely and everything, because I wasn't ready at all, and I know it. I'm not exactly sure what would have happened if those guys wouldn't have been there.
It smelled like you had a good fire.
As in all cases, you know, Whistler Search and Rescue continues to broadcast the need for the general public to tell people where they're going to file a proper plan, to have the appropriate equipment and the knowledge for their intended route, and to watch weather and avalanche conditions and go out prepared and have a great day.